Hi everyone, and welcome to our video for our waterfall card. It is autumn coming upon us soon. I know if I'm saying a bad thing and you're a summer lover, which we all are, but you know, as autumn comes around, we kind of like to switch things up a little bit, and it's nice to have the change of seasons for us here in the Northern Hemisphere. So we kind of like that, and we thought, what a great idea to make something for a fall card, and whether that's for somebody's birthday, maybe it's an anniversary, maybe it's a, hey, you're starting new university or school or college. You know, there's so many things that we could do. So we thought, why not make a themed fall card? So you obviously saw the waterfall in the preview, so you kind of had a rough idea what it looked like from the outside. Now, how do we build this thing? Well, to start off with, our card is 4¼ inches by 5½ inches. So all that I did, I've used our bundled Autumnal Bliss Collection in making this entire card, and it is a beautiful collection. You can see all the beautiful floral prints. This is only a very, very small amount of actually what's in the kit, obviously, because we're just making a small card. But this kit is just amazing with all the things, and you'll see them coming up here for our waterfall. So what I did is I simply printed this off, but when you print it off on your 8½ by 11-inch sheet, what I do when I print this paper off, this background paper, just the floral one, we'll talk about this one in a second, but this one is when you put it on there, put it, like if this was your piece of paper, put it right towards the bottom, okay? Because then what'll happen is once it's printed out, you simply fold it over, right, from the back. Okay, so that's how it printed out, is way towards the bottom of that page. Then you can fold this over, trim off the others, and you have already a folded card, which is kind of a nice thing, right? So for this piece of paper, I've adhered this and I've just glued this down. This was actually a stationery back. And I did shrink it down because this comes to you as a 12 by 12 paper, so it's a pretty big paper. So I just shrunk it down in order to make this size, which is what I liked, and you'll see how this comes up later. This is about 3 inches by 4½ inches, okay? So this size is actually important. The 4½ inch size is actually an important size, and I'll show you that for the waterfall when we come up. So that's as simple as it is. So now, how do we make this waterfall? You know, and how does it work, and what does it do? So what we first off do is we're going to need a band, okay? And this band, we'll start off with this piece. We're going to need this band, and this band is actually our waterfall piece that you pull on, and it slides and scrolls through our little cards that are on the waterfall. So this piece is 8 inches long by 1½ inches wide. What I used for this actually is our border. If you look in the FQB Autumnal Bliss, just after the, you know, usually it lists all the background papers, and then your next image that comes up at the start of the elements is actually a border, and that's exactly what this is. So how easy is that? You know, I cut it to size, and you have this beautiful thing to use. When I printed it, I first fed through the paper because you are going to see the back. Instead of gluing 2 pieces of paper together, it would have made this very, very thick. So what I did is I first printed this, ran it through my printer. Then once that sheet was printed, I took that sheet so that and laid it so that the pattern was face up. Then it took it through my printer and printed this on it. So very easy to do, right? And then cut everything out after that. And as you'll see, all my other parts and pieces, which don't need them, actually have that background paper on it too, right? Same thing with our waterfall pieces. All our waterfall pieces have it on there as well. You don't need to do, obviously, on those, but it doesn't matter because they're going to be covered up. So this is our strip that we use to pull through. So what do we do with this strip? What's going to end up happening is, we'll just fold this over so I can give you a start here, is we're going to end up having this band across. This one is going to slide through like so, okay, just like that. And then we're going to pull down on this tab, and this is where our waterfall little tiles are that go on here that are all going to scroll through. So in order to get this all to work and in order to know how it's all supposed to go, let's start off by showing you this one here needs to be scored in order to do the waterfall. So this piece, start at the top end, okay? Score in at 1.5 inches and then at 3/4 inch increments. So 1.5 inches, 2.25 inches, 3 inches, and 3 3/4. And that's going to give you all your score lines. Okay, so I'll just fold them so you can kind of see here. So you can see we have 4 score lines in there in order to make this actually come through. Okay? Now, the band. We need something in order to hold this down and in order to keep it stationary as we pull on the bottom tab and let it flick itself through. Okay? So in order to do that, we folded this on the very top of our last score line. Okay, so that's how I know how to get the fold here. What you want to do is when you glue this band on, this band is 4.25 inches by 4.25 by 3/4 inch wide. Okay, so it's going to fit exactly on the outside of the card. Now, to know where to place it, what we do is we want the top of this band to match up to the top of this white paper underneath. So there's that. Now on the bottom, because we're going to actually glue this piece onto it, just right at this very top tab here, we know that this tab then has to be positioned. We'll just put this into position here. This has to be positioned just like this, so that way everything matches up nicely when it is closed. It's finished edge on the top, it's finished edge down here on the bottom. We have a very, very nice look to it, right? So let me just, as you can see, I'm screwing that up there where I'm moving around with my hands. So there's where our band needs to go exactly, right? So all that we're gonna do is, now you can adhere this down in several ways. I'm gonna use a little bit of glue. We're gonna slide this out of the way and we're gonna grab our glue here. And all that we're gonna do is we're just gonna glue it on the ends, okay? Because we do want that to slide through. So we'll just maneuver this guy over here. And again, the favorite part, I know how much you guys like to watch somebody glue. Yeah, isn't that just like a ton of fun, right? See people how they apply their glue and what kind of a mess they make. So let's put that down there. This side here, we'll just flip this over a little bit. And we will apply some glue here to make sure it's nice and solid. Now you could do all kinds of things. You could put brads in the ends. Oops, there we go. You could put brads in these ends, go through the card if you wanted, you know, like there's all kinds of ways you could do this. This is just the way I chose to do it. Okay, so now that we have our band in there, and we slide this guy back in, so this will be a little easier to show because it's not going to move around on us. I want this to kind of end up about here, right? Like in terms of, I don't want it exactly centered because I have this nice pattern on here and everything else. I want it kind of a little off center. I kind of like that look. So let's just put a little dab of glue again. What we're gonna do is we're only gonna glue it where it contacts the band part here, okay? Because we want this part to stay in place as we pull on this lower piece. We want this to stay in place. So let me just do a little glue. And again, the fun parts, right? The gluing. And we fold this back over. We line everything up, make sure again that you're nice and square, you got everything going before you do your little press and seal. And there we go there. Okay, now we're going to glue on our little waterfall tags. And these come in the kit, obviously. These already come in the kit. All I've done is I've added some of these words here to them, okay? This thankful for every moment that you'll see here, that is actually a sentiment. When you see, you'll get in the kits, you'll see sentiments that Mary Fran has created. And we usually will say that they're like a digital stamp. You can use them like that, everything else. All that you do is no matter what program, you can do this in, like easy programs like Microsoft Word or any of those kind of things, is we resize these to 1.5 inches to by 1.5 inches. So they're a square at 1.5 inches. Then you take this and add this to your working sheet. You make it smaller so that it fits in here, and that way when you print it prints out as one thing. Okay, so if some of you have wondered, how do I use these sentiments? What do I do with them? I don't work digitally, you know, I always create in paper, things like that. Well, that's how you do these. This thankful word, grateful word, this sentiment here, those are all sentiments that are in there. And they are saved as what we call a PNG file or a PNG file, so that way it is blank or opaque behind it, right? It's transparent, you won't see anything, there is no backing to it. So you just simply, this is how you can do it. It works like a stamp, basically, but in a digital version. So, in terms of doing these, I want this guy, I think, is my very first one. I like him the best, kind of thing. And 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this guy is going to get glued down. And we're going to glue on the tops. Okay, I don't know if I'm out of frame here, but we're just going to glue up on the top stuff. Again, when we glue this down, this one is pretty easy to do because we're gluing it right down at the bottom of the tab here, so that it lines up to the bottom of the tab down here. Each of these other ones, we want to glue at the score lines, okay? So that's our next one. Remember not to glue right on the score line, just below the score line. So isn't that fantastic? There is our card where we scroll through and you can see each and every one of those come together. How do you like that? Isn't that beautiful? What a lovely and interesting card, and so easy to do. Now, typically, I haven't been finishing the inside of my cards for you, but today, a little different. Today, I finished the inside of the card. I thought, you know what, let's go all out in this video here and let's finish this up. So all I've done is I've printed another piece of paper. This is our floral pastel, okay, if you're looking for it in that collection, in the Autumnal Bliss Collection. Again, may the bounty of the season fill your heart and home. That is what we call our sentiment. I believe this one was in the little bits. And I placed it onto this paper before I printed. Then I printed it out so it prints right out on it. I've used a floral cluster, put it up on some of the foam squares in order to give it a little dimension. And beautiful, right? Now, I wanted it kind of big over here because for writing your sentiment, I thought we could do it over here. So I've printed out another one of the beautiful floral clusters that come in the kit, already done for you. This I have not done. That comes directly to you. And then I printed out one of these tags. I'm sure that many of you have always thought, what do I do with the tags? Like, what would be the best use for that? These are great for journaling on, and this you can have your sentiment on. So when I've glued it down, I've obviously left this part unglued so that I can slide that in there, and voila. So there is our waterfall card. I hope you've enjoyed tuning into the video. I really hope you'll try making one of these. These were super easy, super fun. You could literally make one of these in an hour or two, and what a beautiful thing in order to give to someone that has this great sentiment on it. Now, you could have certainly personalized those, written on those yourself if you wanted to. You could have, you know, anything you wanted to do, you could put on those little squares for someone. Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to our channel, and please give us the thumbs up and leave us a comment if you have something to say about our video here. As well, by subscribing to our channel, you'll be made aware of whenever we have new videos come out, whether they be projects or whether they be new video releases and new kit releases. Thanks again for tuning in, and hope you have a creative day.